Hello and welcome back. So we talk about anatomy and proportions, and that's what we're going to do now. So we have our silhouettes. It's time to refine our character. So we're going to draw all the limbs. Now it's a time where we will make our final decisions about the hair, the eyes, and how is our character's figure. So do you want him to be lean, tall, chubby? So all of these decisions are made now. So we're going to start with a sketch, figuring out how our character will look like physically, and then we're going to do our final lines for the body. Again, not doing clothes yet, just the body. So now it's time to start refining our character and knowing how we want them to look. So I'm going to pick here my pencil brush. The one I always like to use, this one. I'm going to add some transparency to my silhouette. If you're doing this traditionally, you'll probably want to be drawing side by side, so you have the silhouette and then on the other side next to it you'll probably want to be drawing your sketch, mostly because you can't really draw on top of the silhouette unless you're using a white pen. So now I'm going to try and start adding details. So we have here the hair that I want to go this way and then this way. Something like this. Alright. Maybe even add here a bit of loose hair on the front. I haven't decided yet if I want my lines to be more curvy and round like this, or if I want them to be a bit spiky, or a bit of a mix. For now I think I'm going to leave it this way. So we have here the head, right? So this first part is still sketch, so feel free to add any lines that might help you figure out where everything is. So here is the undershave part, and we need to add the braid, right? So the braid is coming from here, around here. The braid is also going to be very geometric. Alright, this here is going to be darker probably. Maybe the hair should be higher up, like this. Let's see. So take your time and don't settle for the first option that you come up with. Try to come out with different ideas, because sometimes our first idea isn't the best one. So we gotta see and try different ideas, because we might come up with something even better than what we have right now. I want him to have some freckles. He's running, so he's really happy. Alright, so now it's time. For now we are done with the head here. So now it's time for the arms. So I want them to be quite thin. He's a boy, he's a young boy, so... and he's quite lean. Okay, let's leave it this way for now. Now for the rest, for the torso. So for example, the torso, I'm going to make it smaller or leaner here. Maybe it's because it should come from here, right? So something like this. Probably means that I want to make this arm leaner. So this is a lot of trial and error as you go. So it can be, in a way, it can be easier when doing digitally, But if you're doing this traditionally, it also means that you'll be experimenting much more, which is also very good, because you're going to be doing many sketches, different sketches, so it's a good practice. Alright, so now for the legs. So I change here the torso a lot, so I think I have to move here a little bit, just so I can follow better the silhouette. So as you can see, I'm keeping the pose mostly the same as we had. I'm just figuring out how how Jonah's body looks and translating that into my drawings, or into my drawing in this case. It's just one. I'm really enjoying how he's looking. Just going to erase here these lines. Also, don't be afraid to be messy. I just realized now the head is a little bit too big, so I'll either make the body a bit bigger. Let's try making the body bigger. Or I'll have to resize the head. I feel it will be easier to change the head a bit. And then at the end, if we feel that everything is too small, we'll just resize the whole body and make it bigger. So maybe something like this. Let me see. Okay, I think I'll continue for now. And when I'm done, I'll just hide my silhouette and take a fresh look at it. I'm thinking about rounder feet. Don't know how will that work. Not sure if that's how I want to go, but let's do some tries and see if we like the rounder fit. Now this leg might be a bit too big, so I'm going to move it here. I'm missing the hand, so I'll have to do that, but before that, let me just take a look here. Something feels weird right now, so I'm trying to understand what. Maybe it's this arm. I'm still missing the hand, so it will be even longer, so maybe it's too long right now. The head also feels a bit off. There's something here that I do not like, but I can't put my finger on it, so I guess I'll have to continue and figure it out as we go. So okay, we need to draw the hand now. My worst enemy. Let's do it this way. I've been trying to draw, or at least the shapes of the hands, a bit differently lately, and I think it's working, although in this case I want these two to be separated, so I need to draw this shape differently. Let's see, how can we do this? It's not perfect yet, but I don't hate it, so we'll keep it. I'm going to resize them because the fingers are a bit too long for a child. Alright, I think this might be it. I'm going to make some more experiences with resizing the body here. I think I'm going to keep this as it is. Not sure about this fit yet, but we'll see. So yes, I'm going to do the line art now for the body. But since I'm going to do this digitally and we're going to add clothing afterwards, I can erase the lines that overlap with the clothing later on. So if you're doing this traditionally, I'd say to leave it as sketch and try to not put too much force in your pencil. So your lines should be very soft, so that when you draw the clothing on top, you can erase the lines of the body that overlap very easily. Otherwise, you can also just remake your sketch, again with very soft lines. You can use some tracing paper and you'll either draw the clothing on top on the next video, or you can redraw your character again with softer lines so you can draw the clothing again on top of it. So there's many ways to do this digitally, just so you don't have a mess of lines and then you don't know what will be clothing and what is the body. If you're doing this digitally, then you can do as I'm going to do. So I'm going to do the whole line art on top of this sketch, and then when we go for the clothing I can just erase the lines I don't need. But for now I'm going to do some final lines, final and clean lines. Let's see if I like it this way or smaller, maybe smaller. So now all we have to do is go over each line, but give it a cleaner look. Remember that you can take as long as you want, either with the sketch or with your final lines, your final line art. We're not going against the clock nor anything, so just take your time, alright? Especially if you're not used to doing line art, it is important to be very patient with this. I think that drawing the line art is actually my favorite part of a drawing, because sometimes from the sketch to the final thing I change a lot, so that's kind of fun. I like to see how much my drawing changes from first sketch, because we all have our processes, right? Here we basically did the 3 phases that I usually do. So I usually start with very basic shapes and weird sketches sometimes. Then I'll go through a more refined sketch, so like we did here. And finally, I'll do the final lines, my final line art. So it does take some time. And if I'm not having a good drawing day, I might do quite a lot of sketches until I'm happy with what I have. It's all part of the process and it's very normal. So don't be afraid of repeating your drawings and your sketches, because you'll always be improving with each drawing you're doing. You'll notice that from sketch to sketch, your lines will be improving. So don't be afraid to repeat drawings. It's fine. I'm really happy with how the head turned out. Ooh, I like it. Let's see how the rest will come along. Am I going to draw this arm shorter than I did before? I think I will. Alright, so now I gotta move this hand. We'll see if this will make any sense, but I might have to, if I want to do this, I might want to get here this part thinner, right? That makes sense. Let's go back a few steps. I'm not sure I want to shorten this arm, so for now I'm going to go for the rest. Well, if I make this arm shorter, I might have to resize the head again. Decisions. I'm being quite soft with my lines right now and trying to figure out how I want the fit to look. As I said before, I'm trying to I feel like my art is going through some changes, and I'm trying to figure out what those changes are and trying out different things with it. This is something quite normal and it happens from time to time. So don't be scared if it happens to you. It's a good time for you to experiment with new things. Maybe sometimes it's all a matter of changing the tools that you're using. Other times it's changing the way you think about art and how you draw. So now I gotta make this fit look similar. Ha. Will I be able to? That's the question. Okay, let me go back a little bit. Yes, the head is still too big. Thankfully, doing this digitally will always let me change that mistake. I have a problem with oversized heads. Maybe I should incorporate that with my style sometime. Maybe it will help. So this, I'm going to grab my pencil here. They probably should be at the same size, right? The hands and the foot. They should be on the same line, more or less. So let's redo this part here. In traditional, when you're going to do a line art with your pens, your fine liners, well, you only get one chance. That's why it's so scary, but it can be really fun. So let me hide here the sketch. Look at this a little bit. Maybe I'll be moving this up a little bit. The legs. I feel like the torso is a little bit too long, so maybe like this. Let me look at the head. I think it's good. So now I'm just going to make the drawing a little bit bigger in general, because as you can see, my canvas, and there's a lot of white canvas around, so maybe I should resize it so it's a little bit bigger. Something like this might be good for now. So this is it. We are done with refining our character. I'm very happy with it. I really like how it's going. So now it is time for the clothing. So follow me to the next video where we're going to start drawing clothing for our character. So I'll see you there.